All right, so now we're on to Learning Plan 4. Learning Plan 4 covers power factor and also contains a review of RCL circuits, just because we have to have that in order to deal with power factor. So if we look at alternating current in general, you'll recall we had resistance, resistors. Again, a very basic component in electricity, but overall probably the least important factor when we talk about power factor. One of the ways that we can improve power factor is by increasing resistance, but we don't, in most cases, don't want to increase wire resistance as an option. Again, even wire has resistance, so we can move something farther away and improve the power factor. But again, not really a desirable technique for power factor correction. Another component involved in our AC is capacitance. A couple different capacitors you should have used in DC and AC. By the simplest definition, capacitor is two plates separated by an insulator. So again, two wires that run side by side out to a circuit and back have capacitance in them. So every circuit has, every AC circuit anyway, has resistance, capacitance, and inductance in it. Capacitors are important for power factor in the fact that they're what we use for power factor correction, because most of the time our inductors or inductance is our problem when we're dealing with power factor. In simplest terms, an inductor is very simply a coil of wire, which means that all motors have inductance, transformers have inductance. Anything with a coil of wire, solenoid, relays, all would contribute to our poor power factor. When we say poor power factor, we generally mean that it is an inductive power factor, and thus we use the capacitors from the previous slide to make any corrections. So for our power factor section here in Learning Plan 4, we're dealing back in the Electronics Fundamentals workbook or textbook with Chapter 13, and then there are some additional power factor questions that just want to make sure everybody's on the right track as far as power factor and power factor correction goes. And then we have a quick power factor lab just to show you what power factor looks like. Again, work your way through the list of items, do the power factor lab, have the lab supervisor sign off that you've completed the lab, and then we'll get the performance assessment task out of the way. Again, a handful of questions just to try and make sure everybody understands what's going on. As always, any questions, call or email me. Thanks.